Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Tex Murphy Overseer. Well, last time you'll remember, we found Robert Knott and then quickly saw him get killed, and after a rather improbable escape, we wound up following some leads and have now made our way to Nexus, the secret lab of Greg Call, who apparently was in charge of the Overlord project. And now we're going to head there in search of what our mysterious informant says is the next piece of the puzzle we need.
Base took a long time to find. I won't bore you with the details, but the installation looked totally derelict from the outside. Once I found a way inside, I entered an underground laboratory that was brand new, state-of-the-art.
Was there anyone there?
No, but as soon as I stepped inside, I did hear a voice.
Stand by for system scan.
Uh-oh.
Those men that jumped you had put some sort of implant into your head.
Exactly. And it seemed like I was in the best possible place to do something to remove it. I started looking around with just that in mind.
Just that in mind. No pun intended, I'm sure.
Okay. And we have the same jazzy music from our office here.
Some kind of chart. Maybe watching all those ER reruns will finally pay off.
Okay, let's look at the chart.
If the implant I'm carrying around is on this list, it must be number P333. Now I need to figure out which of the kamikaze implants will neutralize it.
Well, easily done. That note that we got from the Fresno office said that our implant was P333 type. So we have here K216 kamikaze implant. Locates and neutralizes type P implant. So we need to find an N216 implant, whatever that is.
This thing gives me flashbacks to my former dentist and the horrible wisdom teeth incident.
And what's this underneath that clipboard?
There's a card on the clipboard.
Hello, a Gideon Enterprises pass card of some type.
The mysterious informant said I'd find answers to all my questions if I found this place. Maybe this computer is the mother lode. Man, talk about wired for sound. Art Garfunkel could rock on these speakers. Talk about wired for sound. Art Garfunkel could rock on these speakers. The mysterious informant said I'd find answers to all my questions if I found this place. Maybe this computer is the mother lode. Link's LS mug. I've got to play that one of these days.
Yeah, a little shout out there because apart from the Tex Murphy Mysteries, the Link's Golf Sim game was Access Entertainment's, or Access Incorporated's, biggest seller. My dad used to play it. It was a pretty good golf sim as far as I recall it.
Standard keyboard. Oh, a chip-making device manufactured by Frito Intel. The two megacorporation merged a few years back and cornered the chip market.
And yeah, there's another little gag relating to how this was originally going to be a special project for Intel to promote the latest Pentium chips and DVD drives.
Rubik's keyboards. Putting the challenge back into data entry. Well, I have no clue what these displays mean. Keyboards. Putting the keyboards. Putting the challenge back into data entry. Security card reader. Must be for the autoclave. Well, this looks like an autoclave. It's used for storing items in a sterile environment.
Hello.
STG must have bought these pass card readers in bulk.
Well, there's that, but now we need the actual card to do something with it. And there's N216. That's the one we need. Or this pass card's the one. Okay.
That's the one I'm looking for.
Yep. I would like to close everything to reseal it, but not much doing. And let's see. Here we go.
Well, I certainly hope the switch doesn't control anything potentially lethal.
No, it just turns the light on, but what's this in the corner? Why, it's a pass card.
This was Greg Call's pass card.
Well, presumably.
I guess Greg Call must have designed the solution to neutralize the Overseer implants. Now I have to find a way to inject it into my bloodstream.
Oh, and note, this file contains the nanite attack squad in saline solution. Caution should be exercised when using any drug, especially if it has only been tested on desperate college students seeking spending money. Boy, the FDA warnings get specific in the future.
Pass card reader's hooked up. Now I'll need to scan the pass card.
And we can try and mess with this, but we don't have any idea what Greg's password is. Yet.
Hey, slushy machines.
Not so much.
Well, I have no clue what these displays mean. Implant removal station. Well, the IRS has always been good at removing everything else from me.
Oh, and another little gag. Frito inside.
A special Mengele model syringe.
Yeah, but that's what we need.
Oh, a chip-making device manufactured by chip-making device manufactured by Frito Intel. The two megacorporations merged a few years back and cornered the chip market.
Okay, so combine that with that. Now we'll use the loaded syringe. If you're squeamish, you might want to turn your head.
Injected yourself with that thing?
I had to. Then I went into the scanning booth. The fun was just starting.
And yeah, when we say the fun is just starting, that is in the most sarcastic way fashion, because this right here is probably the single most annoying puzzle in the game.
The green diamond must indicate the location of the P333 implant. I have to move the kamikaze implant into one of the blood vessels where it will appear as a blue cross. Then, I have to navigate it until it reaches the implant and neutralizes it.
So yeah, this is a big, gigantic maze, but they don't give you many hints on exactly how this is supposed to work.
Uh-oh. Those flashing dots look like trouble. Must represent antibodies. And I guess they're out to get rid of the new infection. I'd better steer clear.
And it's never exactly clear where you can or cannot go in all of this. And which parts are not overlapping with which parts. So you're stuck kind of swinging the mouse around, hoping eventually to find the right path. But you only have so much time to do that. And you do that, it's way too easy to wind up in completely the wrong spot or overshooting where you're trying to go. So close, and yet dead ends there. And that does not connect to that. And that just leads me back out to here. Now, thankfully, in their wisdom, the Access programmers did code a backdoor into this to escape the more annoying puzzles when they were doing beta testing. And I just so happen to have learned that code. So I can skip through this puzzle anytime I want. And yeah, those green antibodies, I don't think they ever come close to me. And yeah, I remember taking this path before. Okay, I'm trying to take that, and I'm trying to take the other way. And yeah, we're almost out of power, so you know, heck of it. We're going to go with the cheat code, and just in case you want to know, you're stuck on a puzzle, type 911.
I'd neutralized the Overseer chip, which someone had designed to be fatal in my case, or a controlling device to others. I still had no idea who was pulling the strings, but as I stepped out of the removal station, I heard sounds just outside the main entrance. I ducked behind a display panel and waited to see who it was.
And there's our informant.
Hello? Hello? Okay. I'm really not very good with surprises.
Well, it isn't my mystery man. What's your name?
Larry Hammond. I would have told you earlier, but I have some serious trust issues going on. With all that's happened, I've got the right to be a little paranoid.
Yeah, I guess you do. You haven't been using the code name Poison Pawn, have you?
No. Why?
That's not important. How'd you get here?
I followed you. I wanted to make sure you came here alone.
Well, I hope you were more careful about being followed than I was.
Now, I have a very strong sense of self-preservation. I even brush my teeth carefully.
Yeah, it shows. Why don't we just start at the top and see what you know? Tell me about Carl Linsky.
Well, Linsky and I both worked on STG. But I didn't know him back then. I recognized his picture in the paper from when he had his suicide.
Well, that's helpful. How about STG?
It was a really mysterious operation. When Greg brought me in to do some programming, I didn't know anybody on the design team, and we weren't encouraged to get to know each other either. Once we got our instructions, we went off to work in different places. None of us knew what each other was working on.
So, who's in charge of this little circus?
Greg had been there the longest. He was pretty much running the show.
So is he this Overlord I've come to hear so much about?
Oh, no, there had to have been higher-ups. I knew Greg for a long time. We were in Mutant League together.
Oh. Just so I understand something here, the reason you got in contact with me is because you wanted me to find Carl's lab, right? Why?
Well, early on in the program, Greg got really paranoid and relocated his base of operation. And no one knew where he was at. I didn't even see him until after I finished my work with STG. A couple of weeks ago, after all the mysterious deaths, I decided to go underground to get a read on my life expectancy. Well, you see, I was underground, and Greg found me, which didn't give me a great sense of well-being. Anyway, he said he needed my help.
To do what?
He wanted to find the pass cards we'd all been issued. You see, all 8 of us received these cards at the beginning of the project. They were used to transmit data from wherever we were working to some sort of central computer. Now, the whereabouts of that computer, that was top secret.
Well, what about the chess moves?
Oh, I don't know anything about those. I think they were Greg's idea. He designed the cards.
And you've got a card.
Yeah.
You?
You take it. Just holding the thing next to my skin just gives me the hives.
No, it's that polyester.
Really?
You told me if I came here that I was going to get the answer to all of my questions.
I said that? No, I was just guessing. I've got something that might help.
Where did you pull that from?
That's the last time I saw him. Now, he said, don't open it unless something happened to him. I think something happened to him.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do with it?
What are we supposed to do with it? It's your problem now. I told you everything I know. I gave you a pass card, and I gave you what Greg gave me. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go somewhere and try not to get killed. Hasta la pasta, baby.
Hey, Larry. Thanks for the help.
Anytime.
Oh, Larry was the mysterious informant. And he said he wasn't the poisoned pawn. Well, what was in the envelope he gave you?
There was a note written from Greg Call to Larry. There was more to the content of the note than met the eye.
Hint, 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 hint. But yeah, nice little performance by Clint Howard there. That'd be Ron Howard's brother. That was an embarrassing spoonerism. But yeah, he played Larry Hammond, who you might remember as the two-headed computer programmer, who is incredibly helpful in the original Mean Streets. He's lost his brother in this one, ironically enough. No two heads, no Daryl, my other brother Daryl. But, yes. And have they ever gotten around to doing the remake of Martian Memorandum, we might have seen him again, because you might remember we run into Larry Hammond on Mars, and he gives us information there as well. But let's get away from that bubbling noise. Look at pass card B.
Larry's pass card. The corresponding scrambled password is written on the envelope Larry gave me.
Okay, yeah, the password is Ward. Or, if you go with the whole anagram pattern here, draw. Okay, but the note on this says, Larry, I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but you can help me to figure out a riddle. This can be found out if you know my tendency to always pass along a good word and see what follows. Putting this message in a note was the idea I had first because of the letters you've written me. Good luck, Larry. I am relying on you, on your most excellent and proven brain to carry on in trying to achieve the ultimate goal, Greg. Well, remember the note that we got before? The one about call use 2 codes, Braille alphabet every third or fourth word within a message, usually starting with the name or other first word. So we take a look at this.
Carl told Larry not to read this message unless something happened to him. There must be some sort of secret message contained in this note.
So we start out with the name Larry, and then every fourth word, if, 1, 2, 3, 4, you, 1, 2, 3, 4, can, 1, 2, 3, 4, figure, 1, 2, 3, 4, this. Yeah, if you can figure this, 1, 2, 3, out, 1, 2, 3. If you can figure this out, my 1, 2, 3, pass, 1, 2, 3, 4, word, 1, 2, 3, follows, 1, 2, 3, in, 1, 2, 3, the, 1, 2, 3, 4, first, 1, 2, 3, 4 letters, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if you can figure this out, my password follows in the following letters. So, good luck, Larry. I am, so that's G, 1, 2, 3, am, G-A, 1, 2, 3, M, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 2, 3, I, 1, 2, 3, T. Gambit. Gambit. Another chess term. And this other note, chess moves note. Let's see, stalemate implementation, stalemate program, chess match simulation, 8 chess moves available, 6 chess moves in correct sequence required to achieve the stalemate. Use standard chess symbol notation and terminology, K for king, X for captures, Q for queen. Check, the king will be captured unless moved, B for bishop. Checkmate, the king cannot avoid capture. R for rook, A through H, the 8 rows files running vertically. 1 through 8, the 8 rows ranks running horizontally. And N for knight, P for pawn. And then it describes the exact moves. RXE, rook moves into this. And you might notice that that corresponds to some of the moves that we found on the pass cards when we looked at them under the microscope. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pass cards now. We'll need to swing back by Val Davis's office at some point to get the new codes. But first things first, let's see what Greg has on his computer. His pass card was D. And Gambit.
To Larry, or whoever's watching this, I'll have to assume that my first plan has failed, and I'm probably dead. The purpose of this message is a warning, and afterwards my computer will reformat, so listen up. I've enjoyed a long friendship with J. St. Gideon. We founded Gideon Enterprises together years ago, and I believe that he is a good man and has honorable intentions, regardless of how I may disagree with his philosophy. For years, he has worked on a program called Overlord, a worldwide surveillance system which would allow him ultimately to control key political figures, thereby speeding up the world peace process. This was all made possible about a year ago. A breakthrough in nanotechnology allowed us to create microscopic devices that, once implanted inside someone, would allow us to control the physiological reactions, the chemical reactions, make the person a slave to positive response. And in this way was born the STG project, sort of a Pavlovian remote control program. We recruited 7 other scientists and put them on different phases of the project so none of them would know what the entire project was about. We gave them pass cards which would allow them to transmit data to a central Overlord computer. I found out shortly thereafter that John Klaus, one of the scientists, was intending to sell out the project to the Law and Order Party. When I went to Gideon with my fears, he disregarded them. Either he knew something that I didn't, or he was simply too obsessed to listen to reason. Regardless, I took it upon myself to implement a fail-safe program into Overlord, which I call Stalemate. Now, in order to activate this Stalemate fail-safe program in the Overlord system, all 8 STG pass cards are required. I made a plan to track down the other 7 pass cards. I started with Carl Linsky's home once I'd learned that he'd committed suicide, but I was unable to find the card. The thought crossed my mind that since Carl Linsky and John Klaus were friends, that possibly Linsky staged his own death and is working with Law and Order and John Klaus. But I can't substantiate that. At this point, I'm not sure who I can trust, outside of Larry Hammond and J. St. Gideon, though I'm not sure how much J. St. Gideon will listen to me at this point. Regardless, Gideon's program, Overlord, must be deactivated. If not by me, then by whoever's watching this message.
I knew it!
You knew what?
Sylvia was behind the whole thing. Oh, it all fits together now. Of course, Linsky staged his own suicide.
Okay, you got yourself an interesting theory now. Play with it.
Well, okay. Linsky worked at the clinic, right? And, well, there's a lot of patients there, and, you know, maybe one was in a coma or terminally ill, and Linsky finds one that is about his same size, maybe even looks like him, and I think that's where Linsky probably gets the idea. So he dresses the patient in his clothes, he, you know, plants the wallet, the keys, and the suicide note on him. They, you know, dump the body in the bay, and it it's recovered and who identifies it.
Sylvie.
Please, we're finished. Please. Well, did I get it? Did I figure it out?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe so.
So, well then, why don't you tell me the rest?
Actually, I'm fascinated by your story. Why don't you tell me what you do next?
If it were me, I would probably go to the Law and Order Party headquarters.
That's exactly where I went, because now I had Robert Knott's pass card. This time, there was no sign of our friendly night watchman, though I figured he was around somewhere. I doubted the coffee trick would work again, so I had to figure out another plan.
Okay, so we're very quickly going to have to go in here.
I was lucky to get in without the guard seeing me, but I figured he was somewhere in the building. I'd be in trouble if he returned to the front desk and checked out the monitors, so I had to figure something out fast.
And now we are going to use the second oldest trick in the book.
I've never been musically inclined, but I have been known to take a stand on occasion.
And that is exactly what we are going to do. Okay, so now we've got a stand. We will combine the stand with the program. Okay.
This won't work by itself.
Okay, I guess we have to look at this first. Okay, extend it all the way. Now combine the pamphlet with the stand. The pamphlet, of course, having the picture of the...
Pretty smart. You saw that on Mission Impossible, didn't you?
Oh? Did they use that trick too? Why, I had no idea.
Did you have any problems setting up the photo?
Are you kidding? What do you think I am, an idiot?
Yes. Okay, so we now have the run of this room for the moment.
Quality plastic place settings. Only the best for Law and Order party boosters. The plastic place settings. Well, it never occurred to me to make Jell-O with fruit chunky style.
Ew.
Rug lo mein. Chopsticks. Looks like the Law and Order dinner was German Chinese food. An hour after you eat, you're hungry for power.
Badumch.
I wonder what the Law and Order party platform says about hobbits.
I'm guessing they're not fans.
Courtesy phone. No way in the world this thing's bugged. Well, heaven help us if dogs ever get the vote. Heaven help us if dogs ever get the vote.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet that the programmers snuck in pictures of their dogs.
This painting gives me a warm fuzzy. The Law and Order party beach towel. They're tough on crime, downy soft on you. I wonder if this tree could have bugs. A luxurious patois.
And what the heck's that picture?
NTM.
Heh.
I wonder if this tree could have bugs.
That's the second Wizard of Oz reference we've gotten in this building.
I'll bet there's some interesting secrets behind this door.
And why the heck they have this hidden here, I have no idea. Okay, but we do have that top-level badge.
Top-level ID badge.
And we'll go ahead and save the game here.
Well, that won't work.
Oh, yeah, card reader right there.
Odd. The ozonator seems to have a good-sized hole in it.
How about that?
High-security card reader. My deductive powers tell me I may need a high-security card.
You're a friggin' genius, Tex.
This must be John Klaus's little shop of horrors.
Little shop of horrors.
Something tells me I may not want to look at this photo.
All right, let's see.
Not Gideon, too. This time, Sylvia has a lot of explaining to do.
Well, She didn't really explain anything to us yet, but you're wondering why Jason Gideon was so disturbed about the picture of Sylvia with Shemming? Turns out his lady friend was with his worst enemy.
I think Klaus has night fever, and he knows how to show it. I think Klaus has night fever. Maybe Klaus moonlights as a film critic.
Let's see. Movies to avoid: Night at the Opera, Night of the Living Dead, Night Moves, Day for Night, Color of Night. Well, clearly he's evil if he doesn't like Night at the Opera.
It sure is a popular model. I see it everywhere. This thing must be hard to keep clean. Nothing here.
Nothing in the trash can for once.
Chances are probably about 0 that I'll get into Klaus's computer. An inter-office memo. I have a weak spot for insider information.
All right. And bottom drawer. Nothing in there but cables.
Well, here's something they filed on the floor. Nothing here.
Okay, not sure what that was, but let's see. Carl Linsky, Mike York. Looks like Nathan Larson. That'd be one of the Access art director, Doug Vandergriff. A couple of these names look familiar. I'm guessing that's people he probably operated on.
I'll pass on the sandwich, but a super squishy sounds pretty darn good. I'll pass on the sandwich. Klaus probably uses this to determine the exact moments his patients kick off. These tools look like something out of Dead Ringers.
Oh, hello.
A cat picture. Interesting. Klaus doesn't strike me as an animal lover.
Well, we'll go ahead and take that.
I guess Klaus has drawn a little blood in here. Lovely. Chances are probably about 0 that I'll get into Klaus's computer. Probably uses this to determine the exact... I'm surprised this thing doesn't have a stretching mechanism on it. Klaus stands on this, he might be able to look people right in the eye.
Implant procedure.
Implant procedures. Question is, if they just want to kill people, why did they go through all the trouble of the implants? What's the real purpose behind using them?
Well, controlling them or making it look like an accident, probably.
I don't like to think what Klaus would be doing with a barrel of acid.
Those of us who played Under a Killing Moon can darn well guess what they do with a barrel of acid.
Slaughterhouses must require good ventilation. Carl Linsky's name is on the printout. That explains Linsky's surgery, and it may also explain his suicide.
Wow, one of those old dot matrix printers with a paper that trailed.
Tape player. I'm not so sure I want to hear what's on this.
Okay.
Something with John Klaus's name on it. Could be informative.
Okay, so let's look at what we've got here. We got a Crusade memo. To Level 4 personnel regarding the Crusade for Genetic Purity. Rumors have been circulating in regards to a supposed cabal known as the Crusaders for Genetic Purity, existing within the ranks of the Law and Order Party. Reputedly, the ideals of his faction include an agenda for cleansing the general population of all those possessing mutated genetic makeups. In spite of any personal views on the mutant issue, the party's official stand is to 1. Deny the existence of the Crusade, and 2. Strongly oppose the ideology. Failure to comply by any party member will result in immediate and permanent expulsion. Yeah, for those of you who have not seen my playthrough or don't remember the playthrough for Under a Killing Moon, the Crusade for Genetic Purity were the main villainous group from that game. So here's a little bit of a callback to that, or a flash forward, since this is a prequel. But yeah, apparently the Law and Order Party knew about them, but didn't believe they were real, and didn't believe in trying to partner with them. So we've got that. Then we have Klaus's note. Robert Knott may be receiving several important phone calls at extension 107. It is imperative that all calls coming to his office after hours be answered. And we got this Klaus memorandum. Level 3 and Level 4 personnel from John Klaus regarding STG project. All available resources being utilized to locate the source of the STG project. While not all data is yet available, there is every indication that the NPROC would be immensely valuable to furthering law and order's agenda. Logical and practical suggestions have been made on how to introduce the implants into the general population. Doing so provides access to individual locating and tracking via satellite, instant positive identification, physiological influence, and or control via nanotechnology. This technology is still highly experimental, but the source of the SDG project is obviously years ahead of anyone else. I recommend that we invest as much as possible, both financially and with human resources, to the end of incorporating the STG technology. So, yeah, J. St. Gideon tried to build something that would let him control the corrupt people running the world. He recruited people he trusted for this. Klaus proved unworthy of that trust and tried selling it out to the Law and Order Party. So now we've got the right-wing lunatics getting ready to take over the project of the left-wing lunatic to take over the world before the other guy can take over the world. So, yeah. The one other thing we've got in all of this is this cat picture. Lace cat. Now, I'm no expert, but I don't think that's proper French. But we now have the frame, which has the cat, and we have pass card pieces. And yes, it is another puzzle, because we look very closely at this. It's pieces of a pass card. And we can see where the letters come together on this. And probably that matches there. And there's the G. There's that. And note they do snap into place once you get them close enough. So you got that there, and that in the middle. So we now have another piece together card.
Slade must have given this pass card to Klaus after he murdered whoever it belonged to.
Yep. And we'll need to take a look at that one in the lab as well. But as for what the password on it is, this pass card C, well, Le Cat Castle. Anagram for castle.
Slade must have...
So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 8 pass cards. But we still have to find our way out of here.
I'd gotten everything I needed out of Law and Order, but the odds were pretty good that the guard was waiting in the lobby. I had to figure out a way to get him away from the front desk without letting him know I was in the building.
Well, thankfully, we've got that phone over here, and that note which told us the extension call for Robert Knott's office. So just to make sure, let's see, what was that extension again? 107, I think? Yeah, 107. Okay, so 107. I'll need to use this to open the door.
After my narrow escape from Law and Order, I went home and crashed, but I slept like hell. Slade was still out there, undoubtedly looking for me, and I had nightmares about John Klaus, the mad scientist, turning everyone into zombies. When I woke up the next day, I had no idea what was going to happen. Little did I know, later that day, I'd find out the identity of the poisoned pawn.
And we too shall find out the identity of the poisoned pawn next time. We'll see you then.